God has plans to prosper you, give you hope and a future too. So let me remind you of what you have the power to do. You can win, live your dreams, reach your goals, be happy, you can make it. Get motivated with Cassandra Mack. We've got wellness, church by home. You don't even have to leave your home to be inspired, to rise a little higher with Cassandra Mack. You'll never be able to build a solid friendship with someone who wants your spot. I'm Cassandra Mack, founder of StrategiesForEmpoweredLiving.com, CassandраMackMinistries.com. For more information about my company, the ministry, Church by Phone, our books, inspirational merch, music, or one-to-one strategy sessions, you will see the link in the video description box and pinned as a comment. Don't forget to like, share, please subscribe, and share if you find value here. So let's dive in. For those of you who are doing the Soul Fast, you know that we are going to be digging into section 4 of the Soul Fast workbook, where we deal with our relationships, and we actually do what I call a relationship audit, where you are reevaluating the people who you consider your inner circle, the people who you spend the most time with, and you are basically asking the question, is this a solid relationship? Is it lifting me up, or is it bringing me down? And so with that in mind, since we are on the Soul Fast and we're moving towards the relationship component, section 4, which is days 31 through 40, I want to dive into this issue because so many of you write in about this. You really cannot build a genuine friendship with somebody who wants your spot. That is impossible. Now, I'm not talking about somebody who wants something similar to what you have and they're inspired, because there is a difference between inspiration and envy. And so you can have a friend that says, I hope to have a great marriage like you. That's very different from a friend that's like, I want your husband. So do you see the difference between someone who is inspired and somebody who wants to take your spot? So that's going to be problematic. And the reason it's going to be problematic is because when a person wants your spot, they can't really be a friend to you. They can fake it. They can masquerade or try to masquerade their envy. They can be deceptive, so that they can find the right opportunity to catch you slipping so that they can take your spot. But you can't really relax in a friendship where somebody wants your spot, even if it's at a job. It's one thing to have someone who wants a similar job, right? They're like, oh, I'd like to do that too. I would like to, let's say you're an attorney. I would like to be an attorney too. And they're inspired by you and they choose to go to law school. They're inspired. But then there's that line where instead of being inspired, they want to work at the same law firm. Then when they get to the law firm, it's not good enough to be an attorney like you. They want to get you fired, pass off your work as if it is their own, so that they can take your spot. And I don't know if people really understand the magnitude of what it means when somebody wants to take your spot. When somebody wants to take your spot, they're not inspired by you. They want to be you. They want to get the same accolades, recognition, whatever the blessings are that are unfolding in your life, rather than desiring their own blessings, working hard for the things that they want to do, be and have in life. They want what you have. They want to take over what you've already built. And so this can be even in a friendship group, where you have built a friendship group with people you have known since, let's say, college. And you all have a particular thing you do on a regular basis. Maybe you go roller skating on a regular basis. You do brunch, something. You can pick the activity. But there are things that the group does as a group. And then you meet someone else and you bring this individual into the group. And it's not good enough for them to be part of the group. and to build their own friendships with the people in the group, but they actually want to take your place. They want to create discord in the group. They want to plant seeds of doubt within members of the group as it relates to their friendships with you, to get you basically booted out the group so that people give you the cold shoulder, isolate you, ostracize you. And you're wondering, how am I on the outskirts of the group that I brought you in, and now you're the one planning the weekly skating meeting, the bi-weekly brunch. You insert the activity, the thing that you do, right? The gathering at the home where, we each go to one another's home and we do whatever you do. So I want you to be very clear about what the difference is. And so when a person wants your spot, they essentially want to be you. They not only want to be you, they want to take over the things that you have established in your life. And so let's say that you have a strong bond with your children, and this individual has children of their own. And not only does this person want to have a bond with your children, right? So let's say they're good to your kids like them, and this is a family friend who's more like an aunt or an uncle, and they have a solid relationship with your children. That's fine. But where it starts to become problematic is when they want your spot. They want to be mom to your kids, and they start crossing the boundary that is appropriate for that relationship. So they don't just want to be close to your children. They want you out of the picture. That's it. When a person wants your spot, it goes beyond being inspired to actually envy, and they want you out of the picture. And the reason why it is so dangerous is because envy stems from coveting. And when somebody covets something, that is different from someone that desires something similar, because we can all be inspired, right? You can see somebody doing something and something clicks for you, and you might say, I'd like to do something similar. You might see a friend who starts their own podcast, and their podcast is about, I don't know, you can insert the thing. Their podcast is about baking. And you might say, I'd like to start my own podcast as it relates to what it's like to be a teacher. So you're in your lane doing a podcast, and they're in their lane talking about baking. So you're not trying to be them. You are being yourself, right? But you are inspired doing something similar. And so when a person, let's say, not only wants to be you, but what happens is when a person covets, right, what you have, they will even steal from you, whether it is stealing your ideas, stealing your speaking points, and verbatim, right? You can look at your video. Let's say you're a YouTuber. You can look at your video. You can look at their video, and verbatim, they are speaking about a video that you did, let's say, 2 years ago. And when you pull up your video, you have the proof, because your video was done 2 years ago. Their video was done 2 days ago. And it is not only the same exact title, right? Not only the same exact title, but word for word. They even got your gestures down to a science. And so that's problematic, right? Because we may be inspired by the same thing. We may speak about the same thing, right? 20 different people can speak about confidence. 20 different people can speak about self-esteem. You can pick the topic, but you're still going to have your own spin on it, your own nuances, and you're not going to be saying what the other person said verbatim, because that's plagiarizing, right? So when we begin to see that in people who we spend time with, a red flag should go off. So I'm going to give you a scripture, and then I'm going to give you some signs. So Exodus 20, verse 17, and I'll read from the New International Version, says, "You shall not covet your neighbor's house, your neighbor's wife, or his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor." And so obviously we don't have oxes, and we have oxes and donkeys. What I mean is we don't use oxes and donkeys for farming now,
but the principle still holds true. And so rather than an ox or a donkey, it might be coveting your car, coveting your job, but you get the gist. And so there's a reason that we are warned and admonished against coveting what belongs to somebody else, because when we covet what belongs to somebody else, right, it breeds a deep resentment and envy. So coveting is rooted in envy. But once coveting really begins to take a hold of our mind, right, resentment steps in. And we start saying things like, why should she have it? Why should she be married to him? Why should he have that wife? I would make a better husband. And there are plenty of women in the world. Why you got to have that man's wife? There are plenty of men in the world. Why you got to have your best friend's husband or your sister's husband? There's something wrong with that type of thinking. And so when you start to recognize this particular behavior in someone, you got to be really careful. And here's the thing, when you have to constantly watch your back around a particular person, that speaks volumes about the relationship. So here are some signs that you may want to just kind of pay attention to and see if this is something that requires you to just kind of say, let me take a step back. So, number one, the person is vocal about being envious of the particular thing that they are coveting, right? So they don't say something like, again, I hope to one day really build a solid marriage like you and Tim or you and Sally. But Tim is such a great guy. Tim is such a great guy. If I was Tim's wife, I would be making him sandwiches every day. Sally is such a great woman. You know, if she was my wife, I would bring her roses every week. That's problematic. That's problematic. And so if you hear this person constantly vocalizing their envy, and you might not think of it as envy, you might think, oh, it's harmless. They're just saying that, they want somebody like my spouse. You need to be discerning and make the distinction between being inspired and coveting, because there is a clear distinction. And for those of you who are in our membership, we're actually going to be diving deep into this, and I'm going to give you a breakdown of those distinctions. Here we're going to do a cursory talking of it. So when someone tells you, directly, you're so lucky to have him as a husband. You're so lucky to have him as a husband. And it's something that they're saying constantly. That's a little too much lucky and fortunate for me. I don't know. I'm be a little nervous around you. And if I got to be nervous around you, I don't need to be around you. Well, you're so lucky to have her as a wife. You're so fortunate. And it's okay to, it's okay to compliment, right? So it's not about being paranoid. I want to be very clear. This is why discernment is so key, right? Because this is your life, your situation. And so when you notice that over and over, okay, they said it one time, you're so blessed to have, such a beautiful wife. But if every time Tim come over to your house, man, you so blessed. You so blessed. She could cook. She's beautiful. You so blessed. You so blessed. You so lucky. You so blessed. Every day. And it get to the point where he coming around when you ain't there. When he knows that it's your working hour. Oh, I forgot you at work at this time. I was coming to see you. And I didn't realize that you was at work at this time. You need the side eye. It's a problem. Another sign that you'll notice when somebody wants your spot is they will plant seeds of doubt regarding the thing that they covet. So the flip side of this, right? The flip side of being vocal about their envy, right, is they will try to plant seeds of doubt. Like, I would never want to have a YouTube channel like yours. I would never want to have a podcast like yours. I would never want to, and you can insert the thing. I would never, want to ... Sometimes when a person wants to throw you off base, and not only throw you off base, they want to begin to negatively affect your confidence around the thing that they're coveting, they will try to plant seeds of doubt. Well, maybe Tim is cheating on you. Maybe, how do you know Tim is not cheating on you? And this is constant. And they have known Tim every bit of one day. Now, I'm not saying, I want to be clear, because you have people that look for reasons to nitpick, and if you do, we blocking you. We're just not dealing with foolishness in this community. And so we're not talking about a situation where you saw something, let's say you saw Tim tongue kissing another woman, then clearly that's the issue. So we've taken all of that off the table. And we're talking about a person just planting seeds of doubt. This could be your house. I would never want a house that big and that fancy. You know, it's too much cleaning. And this is constant. Like, you're not even talking about your house. You invited them over because, I don't know, you made brunch. You know, you made lunch. And you invited them over to come have coffee, to come enjoy whatever you made. And whenever they come to the house, maybe they pop up, you know, whatever. Whenever they come over to the house, 5 minutes into the conversation, it's a conversation about your house. And you invited them over because of, you just wanted to spend time with them. You invited them over to play cards. You invited them over, to watch a movie. And rather than watching whatever's on Netflix or whatever y'all watching, I want to tell you, this house, this couch, I would never want to, you could barely see the couch because the house is just too big. It's too much house. And you're like, okay, you said that the last 4 times you visited me. At what point do you think I'm not hearing what you're saying? I can clearly hear you. I heard you the last 4 times you said it. What's your point? My point is, it's just too much house. Okay, but you made that point 4 times. I'm not selling my house. So what is the point to keep telling me that? No, I'm just saying, no, you're just leaving. Because what you're not going to do is come up in my house with foolery. Get out. So they will take you there. So you want to be mindful of people that try to plant seeds of doubt. 3, they'll overstep their boundaries. They'll overstep their boundaries. So let's say you have a friend that's telling you about your great husband, and they make a particular dish very well, and they took the liberty of bringing your husband some lunch. They went to his job and brought him some lunch, and they're like, oh, Sarah, oh, no, Sarah, I wasn't trying to make a pass or a play for your husband. I just know that you're so busy working at the law firm and you're so busy with the job, and, Tim, he's got to eat. He's got to eat. And so I was thinking of you. I was being a good friend to you. And because I was such a good friend, I tried to make him food, every day. I try to bring him lunch. No, you looking to be knocked in the next week. I'm joking, kind of. So when a person oversteps their bounds, right, that's not her place to interfere in your marriage and take it upon herself to start bringing your husband lunch at his job. There are some communities and neighborhoods where you're going to catch a beat down for that behavior. Now, I'm not advocating that. I'm just saying. And so when a person oversteps their bounds, that's problematic. That's problematic. And the problem with a lot of people is we see the writing on the wall, but we want to pretend that we don't see it. And then when the situation really blows up, we're like, how did it get here? It got there at the first lunch. At the first lunch, you were supposed to cut her off. At the first lunch, you were supposed to nip that in the bud. And you and your spouse were supposed to have a conversation about that. Hopefully he didn't accept the lunch. Y'all supposed to have a conversation about that, so that y'all are clear that y'all are a united front. Number 4, they will broadcast your faults. They will broadcast your faults. But sometimes they'll try to play it off like they're just telling a funny story. Watch for this. So we're going to take it back to the person who wants your husband or wife. They will bring up the most embarrassing moments. Do you remember back in the days, we used to be such hoes? You're like, oh my gosh, I'm a married woman now. And do you remember when we went to, you can insert the place. Do you remember when we went to such and such and such, girl, and she's just having this conversation right in front of your husband. And let's say you told your husband is well aware, of your life before you met him, because you were completely honest and open. He accepted you as you were. But she didn't know that. You never told her that. And she is using that as leverage to try to throw mud on you when he already saw the mud and accepted you anyway. You got to watch for people like that. You got to watch for people like that. Oh, you remember that time that you got caught shoplifting and you were 11? You were 11. You were 11 and you stole the lipstick. It was wrong, but you were 11. You were not 40. Where's the grace? Where's the forgiveness? So they want to make you less appealing to the person that they desire for themselves. Now, this doesn't have to be in a situation where somebody wants your spouse. This can be in a work setting where somebody will be like, you're so stressed, and they go to the boss, Sarah's so stressed that I know that she's up for the promotion, but, I'm really not one to gossip. But, she's going through a divorce. Did you know that? So I don't know if she really has her head in the game. And now they are reconsidering your promotion because they feel that you may be distracted because you are going through a divorce. And let's say she says, yeah, and not only that, it's a nasty custody battle. There's stuff going on with the house. And you didn't tell these folks at your job your personal business. You thought you and her were friends, and maybe you've known each other 10 years, a long time, but she's using this as leverage because she wants your spot. And at the very least, she just doesn't want you to elevate, or he. So you got to be mindful. Those are some signs. Those are some signs. Another sign, and this sign tends to go undetected. A person who you don't know that well, who wants your spot, maybe they observe you from a distance, right? They suddenly start acting like your BFF. And we will do a separate video that you need to be vetting friendships. You are to choose your friend, and they want to be your friend, does not mean that you need to walk with this individual. You know nothing about them. You don't know their level of integrity. You don't know their character. You don't know if they're loyal, right? That takes time. Doesn't mean that you need to be mean, but what it means is just how you don't let everybody come into your house because they knock on your door and you don't know who it is. You don't know their intent, right? You're not going to be like, oh, come on in, stranger. Make yourself at home. They may rob you. You don't know their intent. And so similarly, when you are meeting someone who wants to be instant BFFs, like I've known you every bit of 2 hours and we're best friends, that's too much too soon. Something is telling me you are emotionally unstable. And so it is not an attack, it is not a judgment, but you get to choose what you want in your life. So if you have a life that is peaceful, you get to choose if you want the opposite of that. And you may not want that in your life. So if your life is peaceful, it is void of stress for the most part. We all have ups and downs, but you don't have a lot of drama in your life. Everybody's got ups and downs. We all have bad days. We all have problems. But your life, for the most part, is not a whole lot of chaos, right? And this individual is the agent of chaos. You get to choose whether or not you want that in your life. And so sometimes when someone is taking such a great interest in you, and they want you to be joined at the hip like frickin' frack, right? Acting like your bestie, sometimes there could be a hidden agenda at play. And it's just best to slow down, right? It's better to get to know people than to allow someone to bulldoze their way into your life. So slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. And watch how they react to your knowing your boundaries. If they have an attitude, if they're like, oh, you're so uptight and I just want to be your friend and I don't know why we can't be the best of friends, already you cut off. Just for that, you cut off. Because the thing is, nobody gets to tell you as a grown adult paying your own bills who you can have in your life and who you can't. That is your choice. You have free will. And so do understand that sometimes when a person is pushing too hard, too fast, you want to slow down. You want to slow down. It's important to vet people in your life. I need to see you in different situations. I need to see how you handle stress. How do you act when you're angry? I need to see, like, do you gossip? Do you talk about people behind their back while smiling in their face? Only time is going to reveal that. I'm not going to know that from day one. Are you overly clingy? So we're all going to have our requirements of what's going to work for us in a friendship. Are you going to demand too much of my time knowing that I have a lot going on? See, sometimes you have to find the right friendship fit. Everybody's not going to be the right friendship fit for where you're taking your life. Amos 3:3, can two walk together except they be agreed? So these are some signs that somebody wants your spot. And it's going to be very difficult to build a genuine friendship based on the 3 C's. Care, concern, consideration, if the person wants your life. And so I hope you found this helpful for those who are, particularly those of you doing the soul fast, and we are doing the relationship component, and just those of you who may be in a situation like this where it is clear that you were like, yeah, this person wants my life. Has that ever happened to you? If it has, put it in the comments section below. Have you ever been in a situation where it was clear that somebody wanted your life? You know, they wanted your spot, so to speak. And what was the evidence of it? Like, what did they do for you to know that they wanted your spot? You know, I had this happen to me many years ago. I was in college. But what were some of the signs that let you know, oh, this person is trying to take my spot? And when I noticed this with this person, you know, I backed away from the friendship. You know, I backed away from the friendship completely. So what did you notice and how did you handle it? Because there might be somebody who's going through this right now and they're feeling alone. They're feeling like, I don't know what to do. They're feeling like something is off, but I can't put my finger on it. And hearing how you spotted it and how you handled it would be extremely beneficial for someone who might be struggling with this particular issue. So with that being said, have an amazing day. Are you a member of the YouTube channel? If not, what are you waiting for? You need to be a member. When you're a member of the Cassandra Mack YouTube channel, particularly at the 2nd tier or higher, you get access to our Wednesday Wellness Club. That's a therapeutic group that meets twice a month by telephone conference call. And we focus on mental fitness. We focus on emotional well-being through a biblical lens. And so if that sounds like something that you would like to be part of these meetings with like-minded people who are about their positivity and productivity, I encourage you to become a member. It will be one of the best investments that you can make in your own well-being, your own mental wellness, your own self-care. So I would encourage you to do that. And if you would like more tips and tools just around building your confidence, because what I find is that when you build your confidence and you're clear about who you are, a lot of times you don't find yourself in a lot of these situations, because when you're clear about who you are, you don't care what people think. When you're clear about who you are, you will say no, and if the person doesn't like it, oh well, too bad. When you're clear about who you are, you can do things with grace, but you will not allow yourself to be taken advantage of, because you're not put on earth to be a doormat. When you are clear about who you are, you will take the loss of somebody being mad at you, of somebody not liking you, of somebody not wanting to speak to you because they can't manipulate you and they can't have their way. You will draw your lines in the sand. When you are clear about who you are, there's less likelihood to be envious of other people, because you realize that God has given you your own gifts that are going to make room for you, because you know who you are according to the word. So there's a book I wrote called Speaking Life into Your I Am. And it's a book of Bible affirmations that take very specific scriptures that speak to our identity as children of the Most High God. And it walks you through the process of how to affirm that particular scripture personally in your life, what it means to really be fearfully and wonderfully made. What does that mean? And how do you show up as a person who knows they're fearfully and wonderfully made? How do you show up for life? How do you show up for work? How do you show up in all your relationships? And so the book walks you through the process of affirming those scriptures. And of course, the number one book you want is the Bible. But in addition to the Bible, you may want to pick up Speaking Life into Your I Am. That will definitely bless your life. So with that being said, have an amazing day. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
When this crazy world starts to weigh on your soul, release the negative and let it go so you can grow. Know that there is peace, joy, and healing so you can be whole. Got chains of doubt inside you tearing up your self-esteem, but you got the power to be free. Free from everything trying to steal your destiny. The soul